There you go, bro. That's an intro for you right there. Yeah, what is up, everybody? MuseMe TV. I got to do this damn thing right away. Trying to switch what's going on. Thank you for joining episode 125. We are back. Oh, man. This is a new thing we're trying, so if it doesn't work out too well, we're still working out the kinks and stuff. But thank you for joining. Back in the studio, we got Dennis. Dennis back in the studio.
How you doing? How you doing?
Say something.
We kind of rushed right into this a little bit. We weren't necessarily ready yet, but don't worry, we're going to get you our intro song going soon.
There you go.
All that other good stuff.
Doy Stevenson, everybody.
Doy Stevenson, everybody.
Anyways, yeah, so fucking... I know nothing about this. I have no fucking... I'm still learning and how everything should be coming, but this guy's a badass from what I've heard. I mean, you telling me he's a beast.
Yeah, this guy's one of the best coaches in the game. He coached a group of kids up to pro level back in the early 2000s, New England Hurricanes. They actually competed on the ESPN, and they placed pretty well in that tournament. They, went on and became a dominant force in the NPPL under a young age, and all those players from that team necessarily went on to other teams and became really good and successful. You know, Billy Bernaccia, all those other guys. I'm sorry, I just drew a blank. I'm sure he'll be able to fill us in on the rest of them. But, yeah, he is New England Hurricanes coach. He coached the Bay State Bandits and managed a bunch of other different teams. My good friend, Jeff Stein, everybody.
That's it. That's how you build up the guy.
I don't know.
Just kidding.
He's a great guy, honestly. He knows what he's doing, and he's one of the best paintball minds in the business.
Yo, 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 what is up? Are you still with us, Jeff?
He may be on the phone.
I'm still with you.
Yeah, he's here. All right, what is up, Jeff? Welcome to the podcast. This is MuseMe TV. Thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate this. Dennis said that I had to get you on, and I'm just like, let's get him on, man. Let's get him on.
Glad to be here.
Heck yeah. So Dennis was telling me a little bit about yourself. You've done so much in the paintball world already. So just give us a little rundown on what you do, what you have done, and just give us a little info about you.
Okay. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So I guess the only thing that's really worth talking about is the Hurricanes. I started a team called New England Hurricanes back in '99, and we had a little run in pro from 2004 until about 2009 in 7-man, and we did 7-man. We did 7-man and NXL. And then since then, I ran the Bay State Bandits for a couple of years. I ran the Preferred Mob for a couple of years, and the last 2 years I've been back with the Hurricanes. Restarted the team. A couple of the players actually came to me. Kids who played in the team. Costigan played in 2007 and 8, and Steve played in 2010 and 11. And they came and said, interest in restarting the team. We kicked it back off. We got Keith DeVitt to come back and join us. Thomas Mantoni, who used to play pro with the Hurricanes and Aftermath and Doc's Raiders. And we played last year, and then we played this year, and then this year everything in the world ended.
Yeah, that's what's tough about everything is the whole paintball world came to a screeching halt right after Vegas. And you guys had a pretty good showing at Vegas, I felt, too. So
we have a very good team, and we should be playing late on Sunday at every event. We didn't make the cut in Vegas. Combination of issues. Some of it was there was a gear shortage leading into Vegas, so we didn't all have, like, some of our guys were getting equipment, getting guns in Vegas. Never had a chance to use them. That's never a great look. In preparing for Vegas, anytime a team from New England is preparing for the first event, you're battling the weather. So you're often not even practicing outside, or you're practicing in frigid conditions. We never played, before Vegas, we never had the opportunity to play a regulation match with timing, with refs, and with coaches. And so we got there, and it took a day for our coaching staff to really develop a rhythm with each other. That hurt us. On Saturday we were off, or not Saturday, I guess. Friday we were awful. Saturday we were okay. If we had prepared a little bit better, we probably would have played on Sunday. If we it's all little things. If we had done a better job with the gear beforehand, if we'd done a better job with the coaching, if we practiced a little bit more. It's always tough coming from New England and coming out of the snow for the first event, and we didn't perform the way we should have.
Yeah.
It was not something that I would consider a successful event by any means. Anytime you're not playing on Sunday, you just spent a whole lot of money for nothing.
Dang, that must be pretty hard. So with that being said, especially how hard it is now, like how hard is the paintball going with the whole COVID epidemic going on? Is it kind of put more of a screeching halt on it, or is it just kind of just give it a little bit of a slowdown?
I mean, for a while it was a screeching halt. We couldn't find any fields in Mass in the New England area that were open in March. Most of April, we found one field that was open, but they were limiting it to 5 people at a time, so you couldn't even get a team practice in. In all fairness, I appreciate that they took the effort to get open at all, but it's tough to get practices in. Now things seem to be mostly back to normal, at least regionally. So there's the NEXL is running, Fox 4 is running, Foxball, the OPS series out of Matt's Outback is running. So there's lots of local events, but local events don't allow semi-pro players. So if you are a semi-pro player, even if you're a D2 player in New England,
nowhere to play.
We're hoping that there's a World Cup, and if there isn't a World Cup, then we got to play one tournament this entire year. There's the event over at Blast Camp in September. Virgil Fraze Field Blast Camp is running an open event. I think they're limited to 12 teams, and it's the same weekend that the Chicago NPPL was supposed to be. So there's one opportunity to play, but other than that, like, there's the realistic possibility that D1 teams across the country play in one event all year. That's not good.
Wow, that actually does sound pretty hurtful.
It's hard to stay motivated to practice on a regular basis when it's not like, okay, if it's okay to do drills when you know there's a tournament coming, even if it's not a layout practice. But we don't know if there's a tournament coming. Like we might not play another tournament for, 8 months? And let's be realistic. There's no guarantee that Vegas happens next year. It could be 10 months before we play another tournament. The Hurricanes are an older team. Most of the guys have careers. Some of the guys own their own businesses. It's hard to go to like Steven Schloss, Peanut, who owns a television production company, and say to Steve, you should take off work this weekend to come practice. What are we practicing for? We're not practicing. We're playing. What we're doing right now is we're playing. And it's great if you love playing, but there's a difference between hobbies and sports.
Yeah.
And right for a D1 team, paintball's kind of a hobby. If you love it, play. And if you don't really love it, or if you have other things in your life that are important right now, it's easy to push paintball aside. And that's what we're seeing. So I got the guys over. We're reffing the OPS tournament series this weekend. And everybody's reffing, and we get paid in practice paint. So I'm hoping that when I get to turn around and say practices are free, we'll be able to get more people to the field. But it's been tough. It's been real tough.
Interesting. So I've actually known Dennis since high school, but how do you know Dennis? How do you, you've obviously worked with him and done some stuff with him. Can you give us a little insight on that? So
Dennis came out to the Hurricane tryout in 2010?
Yeah,
2010. With a video series on it, actually, or video on it. And Dennis came out and tried out for the Hurricanes. He did really well. It's tough bringing people who aren't local into a team, especially when you're dealing with New England, where any given weekend you could be canceling practice in the morning because of the weather. And then it's not somebody who's driving in from New York. It's somebody who's flying in from the furthest part of the country. So that's tough. But Dennis and I have stayed in touch ever since then, and through his trip with Raza and APX and everything else. So we probably don't even see each other more than 3 or 4 times a year, though, right?
Yeah. But it's great every single time.
Nice. That's cool.
That's what's awesome about those events, though, is they happen once every 2 months, but you get to see all your friends from around the world and country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every 2 months. So.
Okay. It's pretty dope.
It is getting to fly out and see people that you consider friends, but you don't see on the regular. You fly out to these events and you run into 100 of them.
Yep.
So
And obviously, you guys do keep in contact, right? It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
a couple years later or a couple months later, oh, let me just remind Dennis, or let me just let Dennis know. No, you guys are constantly have a situation going on. And You guys are talking to each other.
I mean, this guy, like I mentioned in my post before, he's my first mentor in like the top game of paintball. Like when I first entered in, he told me, he was like, you're from New Mexico. I really know you want to be part of this team. You'd be a great addition, but you're in college right now. Put paintball aside, finish college, do what you're going to do, and then take paintball on. Or if you're serious about paintball, find a team near you that's looking for players, and you'll make it. You know what I mean? And so I took that advice. I tried to finish out school, and then I found a team next to me, the Scottsdale Elevation, and things happened that I unfortunately weren't able to travel back and forth. But they're a great group of guys too. But this guy right here, when I first wanted to go to Raza and talk to Todd, I was nervous, and I knew that Jeff knows Todd, and he knows him really well personally. So I was like, Jeff, what's Todd into? What makes him laugh? What should I say to him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just nervous, and so he was like, dude, you're gonna be fine, and like he told me, he's like, he's all, you should even sweat it. You're gonna get this job no matter what.
Dope.
And so, I went and I talked to Todd, and sure enough, he's like, yeah, I want to hire you. And I called Jeff right away. So he hired me, man. He was like, yeah, I told you.
Job. That's dope, man. Heck yeah. So, Jeff, how long have you been in the paintball industry?
The first time I played was 1992.
Dang, dude, oh my God, don't even say that. I wasn't even, I was barely 2 years old, man. 2 years old.
My APPA number is 36.
That's wild. 36, man.
And ever since then, you kind of had this passion, and you knew that it was going to be paintball for the rest of your life?
Every year I think to myself, how have I not advanced past this? But every time I've quit, I've ended up coming back. Every time I've walked away from a team thinking it's time to not do this, it lasts at most a couple months. I don't know what else to do with my time.
Okay.
So I always end back doing this, and I enjoy it, and I don't entirely suck at it. So something to do.
I totally can see that. It's more of a passion now, because it's just so much of the repetition of doing it and just falling in love with the motion. Because me and Dennis have actually played music together and stuff, and that's just something that we know maybe one day it'll hit off for us. But if it doesn't, it's okay, because it's still
a lot of fun.
It's still fun playing for a bunch of groups of people, a local show, or just being able to entertain in a small amount of venue to grow. It's a great experience. So I totally get what you're saying.
Enjoy it. You have to enjoy doing it. If it's entirely a goal, then let's be realistic. How many pro paintball players pay their bills with paintball? 5? Like 6? If you don't count the guys who work in the industry, it's not like, in terms of it being a goal for the sake of a goal, it's not much.
It's not plausible.
You have to enjoy doing it. The other thing is, you spend so much time. You think about how much time you spend with your team between weekends and traveling and everything else. It has to be something you enjoy doing, or it's not worth doing.
That's some good advice right there. Some good sound advice, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, if you're not paintballing, what do you like to do on your spare time?
I drink and smoke.
That's a great answer right there. I'll get the crowd on that. That's a good answer. Good answer.
I have no life. So. I spend a lot of time at cigar bars, and I collect whiskey.
So where are you at right now?
I'm at a cigar bar in Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island?
And the state of Rhode Island has a number of really nice cigar bars.
I did not know that.
On my way home, after I go to the field on Saturdays and Sundays, I stop by and have a couple drinks, have a couple cigars, and then I drive home.
Nice.
Always sober.
Nice. So, in your situation of where you're at right now, how is the whole epidemic of the COVID going on there? Is there like a big mass hysteria going on? Is there some people kind of still staying chill and kind of living life the way they should? How is it going out there?
So the New England states really locked down pretty tight, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Right now, the COVID numbers in Mass and Rhode Island are as good as they are anywhere in the country.
Okay.
You always find people who take it very seriously and care. You find people who really don't. At my field, if I see customers wearing a mask, I put on a mask. If customers aren't wearing a mask, I ask them if they want me to. If they don't care, I personally don't care. But I think there's a mental health aspect too. Like I wear a mask when I go shopping, not so much because I care, but if it makes it's a stressful time. Yeah, people are hurting financially. People are afraid of what's happening to the country financially, what's happening to the country in terms of the virus, what's happening to the country in terms of the completely corrupted political process and the media. So if my wearing a mask makes your day a little bit less stressful, I'm okay with that. That's a good enough reason for me to wear a mask.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, that's kind of the same situation we're in too. It's like most of us know it's just, to make other people feel better. And it does have some benefits in making sure that the virus isn't spread. But in other retrospects, not a lot of us are unhealthy, and we don't have these underlying health issues that feel like can really cause us to, I don't know, die or get really, really sick. Because
so you say that, and I agree with you, and I do agree with you. But then you have the exceptions, and the one that really sticks out for our community is Tim. I mean, he's a professional athlete, he's healthy. So this virus can kill people, and can kill people who are healthy, and it can kill people who are not compromised by any kind of health issue. I don't know. I mean, I look at the studies that come out, and the death rate is not, the mortality rate caused by COVID is not
something significant.
Right. I mean, it's low, but it does kill, and it does kill people who are healthy. And the Tim thing, you were talking before about the event. I wouldn't say that Tim and I were friends. We were friendly. But whenever we saw each other at events, we took time to talk. Mm-hmm. I'm probably one of 2,000 people who are going to notice him not being there at the next event, whenever the next event is. I mean, he was that kind of a person. And I don't even know, as much as the paintball community has been impacted by Tim's passing, I don't know if we've really felt the impact. I don't know that we're really going to feel the impact until, the Tom, Dick, and Harrys, the nobodies of paintball, go to the next event and swing by the Lux booth, and he's not there to say hey, and somehow remember everybody's name and somehow have time to talk to everybody.
That was what's really good about Tim. I was friendly with him, and just because me and Ryan Moorhead had been friends, we were basically twins, you know what I mean? Every time I was with Ryan, Tim was around, you know what I mean? And they were always joking around and having a good time. So I got to see like a different side of Tim that a lot of people didn't see, and like get to hear some raunchy jokes that he got to, you know what I mean? He's just a funny dude all around and really great guy. And like you said, like when he passed away, I was blown away because completely healthy guy. And then, from everybody who saw him and talked to him just the Friday before, wouldn't have suspected anything. You know what I mean? And then,
so somebody texted me and told me that he had passed, and my first thought was, this is bullshit. And I actually texted Tim to say, hey, there's a rumor going around. Of course, it wasn't a rumor. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, that's
and putting aside being very, impersonal, very cold, Tim's vision for the future of paintball was an awesome vision.
Yes. Yeah.
You look at everything that's happening in our community. The biggest growth sector of paintball is retired players coming back.
Yep.
And what are they doing? They're playing mech ball. Yep. They're playing wood ball. They're playing 10-man. The vision that Tim had for the future of paintball was the most promising thing that anybody has. And I don't know who else, I don't know who's going to carry that torch in his place now. But it's something that the sport needs.
That's very true, especially in this time now, because, I mean, I don't want people to think that, like, a lot of people think that a lot of things are going to start dying. Like like comedy, certain sports, certain events that take a group of people to come together. We can't let that fail. We can't let that go away, because I mean that's where the camaraderie and the togetherness come together.
So
have you guys ever been?
what was that?
Did you guys ever go to the ICPL?
No, I played the what is it? The one that the I didn't play Iron City Classic, but I played the one that NXL played or had on.
I never
IPL or something.
Never had a chance for it, and I hope it comes back next year so I can.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think they will. They announced something yesterday that they will. So I think it's cool. So. I remember the first time that they had it, I was like, man, that's gonna be an awesome tournament. And then sure enough, the next year, like they sold out 72 teams within a matter of like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes. And
it's like the old NPPL. I don't remember this, but the old NPPL tournaments, they'd sell out in an hour.
Yeah, you'd have like 300 teams at NPPL, 350 teams,
and you didn't get to play.
And so my question for you, I've always actually wondered this, is how did you find the talent, the young talent, 15, 16-year-old kids, and turn them into the New England Hurricanes of the old days? And, you know.
So I like to think that I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I believe that I have a good eye for talent. The first Hurricanes team that went pro was based on a group of kids who played out of Canopy Paintball called the Adrenaline Junkies. Rob Landry, Dan Savoy, Brian and Eric Gigliotti, Stephen DeBillis, who played on All-Americans. We picked them up. I think they knew Billy Bernacci. I mean, we picked up Billy. For the most part, and this comes from the All-Americans. The All-Americans were the first, like, modern professional team. And they did two things that were different than everybody else at the time. The first thing they did was they sat back and they figured out what are all the distractions that prevent people from being the best they can be, and they removed them. If you don't like sharing a bed, we'll get more hotel rooms. You don't like sharing a car, we'll get more rental cars. Obviously, the All-Americans had a great budget. But they sat back and they removed any of the impediments, the things that stop you from playing and focusing on playing. And so that was a lot of what I tried to do, was just make it so it's easy for kids, find people who are passionate and want to get better, and remove the reasons that they can't. And the Adrenaline Junkies, I mean, I remember I used to have to fight with them. They would go to Boston Paintball to do drills, and the drill they came up with, the drill that Rob Landry invented, was 5-on-5 with a flag in the center of the field. It was a pretty cool drill. And they'd shoot 30 cases, and they'd stick me with the fucking bill.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. But they got really good, and they cared a lot about being good. So most of the magic, most of what I brought to the field was just seeing the potential in them and trying to focus on removing as many distractions as we could. And the rest of it was them. The rest of it was the players.
So you funded the Hurricanes pretty much in their first years to get where they were?
So the first year we went pro, we were a Reds sponsored team, and Reds gave us a very good deal. And then 2005 and 6, it was largely me. 2007, we got a great deal from Planet Eclipse. And that really helped, having Planet Eclipse involved. Obviously, awesome guns and a great company, and they're local to Rhode Island.
Yeah. Mark Lancia, shout out.
So when Jacko first sponsored the Hurricanes, we go to Huntington Beach. I guess it must have been 2007. It was 2007, maybe 6. No, it was 2007. So we go to Huntington Beach, and Jacko brings all the Hurricanes back behind the Planet Eclipse truck, like within their paddock area, to try on clothing and grab guns and stuff. And Leds, who has no idea who we are, walks out back and actually called event security. Because all Led saw was a bunch of 15 and 16-year-old kids grabbing gear and trying shit on and running out the door. He's like, who the fuck are these people? And Jack goes, no, they're approaching. They're a bunch of little kids.
Stop these guys. Man, that's wild.
Things that I remember from back then, like I've always have and always will be a fan of Dave Baines and Dynasty. A lot of pro teams were not welcoming to the Hurricanes. Dynasty was.
That's awesome.
Dynasty treated the kids like they belonged there. And Greenspan, I don't think Ryan even remembers this. Greenspan came by one time. The pro teams had they called pro player paddocks. It was a staging area that was separate from the rest of the tournament. And Ryan came by the Hurricanes area, and we didn't have pods, we didn't have squeegees, we didn't have chamois. We didn't have sponsorship on the level that other people had.
Yeah.
So the next event, Ryan comes by the Hurricane area and he drops off a care package of all those shit and all the shit that we didn't have.
Damn.
And every event,
cool.
Greenspan, and like I said, I don't think Ryan remembers this. Every event, either Ryan or Alex would walk by the Hurricanes and make sure people had barrel socks, because otherwise we wouldn't have had barrel socks. So I don't care what happens. I will always be a Dynasty fan, always be a Dave Baines fan, because they treated the kids like they belonged on that field.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's just the support that comes from like people knowing that like, hey, this is the next generation, or hey, this is the next group of talent. Like, why shouldn't we help them? Why shouldn't we help them?
You say that. All those Dynasty guys are still playing, and most of those Hurricanes have retired. So.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And Dynasty's won over 50 tournaments right now, man. But you know, the thing with the New England Hurricanes is they were always in the at least middle of the pack, and then like towards the end of the years, they were finishing up top. You know what I mean? And so like it wasn't like they didn't belong there; they belonged. You know what I mean? But like back in the day, like. Even when I was growing up, you know, like it was so rare to get any kind of tips or any kind of good treatment, or just here, you don't have this, let me give you this. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody wanted to keep everybody else below them so they can have that upper hand on them. You know what I mean? And it's not like how it is today, where you'll see more of that camaraderie within the sport. Everybody's helping out everybody. But like, you know, especially in the NPPL, man, it's cutthroat in the NPPL. You only have one game against each person, and you got 8 games throughout the tournament. You know what I mean? So it's cutthroat.
And the teams that didn't perform well got relegated.
Yep. Exactly.
So relegation started in the NPPL. It exists today. Has anybody ever been relegated and survived?
That's a good question.
Like Elevation got relegated. They're no longer a team.
They're sort of there's somewhat of a program still, but they're not competing semi-pro or anything. So I would have to say no. No. Who was the after?
I don't think so.
Aftershock got relegated and became Aftermath, basically.
Yeah.
But
okay.
That's good, man. That's good.
Unless it was, you know, would you consider the Naughty Dogs, and then like they split up basically into Uprising and Seattle?
No, the Naughty Dogs broke up, and then they got back together. You know, so yes, they ended up coming back, but they're coming back. They're like when they were not a team for years. They were not a team for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Rocky was actually telling the story. Rocky's kid gets done with college, gets done with, you know, the military, I think it was, and said to Rocky, I want to play paintball with you. And that led to the rebirth of Naughty Dogs. But when I saw Rocky at the World Cup, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, he and I were chatting, and he was like, you know, it's not good. I haven't been around for 8 years, and I know 90% of the pros.
Yeah.
Think about it. How much new blood comes into the pro division makes any kind of a difference in sticks?
Not a lot, honestly.
NYX, yeah, not a lot. I mean, so like 187 or Revo, they're new since the Naughty Dogs original run. NYX is new. There's always going to be new teams. How many teams come into the pro division and matter at all?
Would you consider Houston Heat?
They're better than we are, but like Thunder, did Thunder do anything? Does Uprising do anything? Does Trademark on Outlaws or ML Kings? Like, yeah, they're pro, but are they really pro?
I hear what you're saying.
By the way, don't. Yeah.
I can feel that.
The pro
sorry, go for it.
A 20-team pro division is unnecessary. That's a financial thing. That's not a competitive thing.
What would you put the pro division at? 10 teams? 12 teams?
8 teams.
Whoa.
So if it was me, I'd like to go back to champions and challengers. Have a semi-pro, like separate semi-pro and D1. Have a champions division of 8 teams that are. Back in the day, if you stepped on the field with the pro team, you lost. Period. Period. You lost. In today's world, I don't know if that's always true. So let's make a pro division that is super elite, that is so much better than every other team that it's obvious. And then have a challengers division of the next 8 teams, whether they're currently called pro or they're currently called semi-pro, but make the elite part of the sport elite. The problem is that paintball doesn't have the finances, so teams are viewed as profit centers, as opposed to teams like in every other sport. Teams generate revenue
themselves.
In paintball, teams they are the revenue. So you have to have a 20-team pro division to make the pro division viable. Wow. Which kind of, I get it. And if it's a choice between that or no pro division, let's take that. But that's not really what's best. You watch some of the pro teams play, and it's not inspiring.
That's a good point. There's a lot of people who sit and watch and like, man, I'm better than those guys. I can do better than those guys. And like, you can even, there's people who go and they
probably are not. It's real easy to watch a team playing against Impact and to say to yourself, that team sucks.
Yeah.
Do they suck, or is Impact just really good?
It's true.
But at the same time, there's teams playing pro that shouldn't be playing pro. That don't deserve the pro moniker. And then this whole merging in, so I'm not allowed to buy a spot, but I'm allowed to merge with some team, pay them money, replace their entire roster, and then pay the league $5,000 to change the name. Oh, come on. It's like
weird.
Either allow people to buy in or don't allow people to buy in. But back in the NPPL days, the spots were owned by the league. You couldn't sell your spots, although a couple people did. Docs Raiders, I think, bought a spot once. But, make it, if you're going to call it pro, make it mean something. Right now, it really doesn't mean anything. It's just a different price point.
Yeah, it's like everyone's on minimum wage. It doesn't matter who's in the paintball field as long as you get paid a certain amount, people in there. That's weird. That is kind of weird.
And that's why it's not even profitable either, because if you win these tournaments at the pro level, you're only going to get $10,000. That doesn't even pay for the tournament itself.
That goes
let
back
alone
into
the practice. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so it's complete. Like, you have to count on these teams bringing in profit to your company, and then these companies, they kind of kick you a little bit of crumbs here and there. Like, if you have, for instance, a lot of these teams, they'll have a farm, you know what I mean, for them. So let's say DMG camp, they have this. They have a whole camp. They have a D5 to pro camp. So when you have all of those guys buying your team package, which is part of the deal of being part of that team, the pro team, all those guys are going to get free gear. But it's at the cost of you getting 40, 50 packages in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
So that's the incentive, right? They get free gear and stuff, but it's still cost.
Yeah.
Still at a cost.
Exactly. And then if you're going to order paint from these guys and you want a paint sponsorship, you got to go to your, whatever field these guys practice at and work something out with these owners where, okay, well, I'm going to tack on a little bit more to these cases for you that I buy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then whatever I tack on gets put on towards you. So there's really no real sponsorship. It's more of like, give me. So you can, get a little bit. But
a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand. It is a business, and it's not necessarily a tremendously profitable business. So if you want sponsorship, you have to bring something to the table. You have to offer these companies something. And, I've got 5,000 followers on Instagram. Nobody cares.
Who cares?
Nobody cares. The question you need to answer is, how many packages am I going to sell? Am I going to sell 20 packages? Am I going to sell 200 packages? And then you have teams like, you take Infamous. So Infamous has basically become a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their sponsorship from Planet Eclipse is, but I know they sell a lot
Guns.
of guns.
Okay.
And that's what funds the team. They get guns at a price, and they sell those guns, and that funds the team.
And they sell them more than a regular CS2 or whatever would go for because it's their infamous milling.
Yeah.
So instead of it being like a $1,400-$1,500 gun, they could charge $2,200 for it. Easy.
Just to get that benefit of the profit, right?
Yeah, and people will buy it too. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's used by the pros. Why wouldn't they?
I hated when the Hurricanes had $2,000 guns. Like, how do you go to some kid who wants to support your team, he's a big fan, and like, I want to buy a Slater SL8. How do you say to that kid, this is going to be a little bit more than your parents' mortgage for the next month? I talked to Jack about this a bunch. We came out with an e-tech at one point. I want a gun that I can sell to kids for $500.
Yep.
Something for a reasonable amount of money. And it can still support the team. It's not going to support the team as much as a $2,000 gun, but it's going to support the team. It's going to support the company. It's going to support the sport. Because it's embarrassing to say, like, this is a $2,000 paintball gun. Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, that's bad.
Really?
Exactly.
Well, what the fuck is wrong? Who would spend that? What asshole would spend $2,000 on a paintball gun?
It's
like hoppers. Like, aren't hoppers like $200 these days?
Yeah, and so that's expensive too to me, man. Jesus.
Yeah. So, and it's not that part of the sport's not going to change because right now there's just Johnny Walker Brown.
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Johnny Walker Brown.
Dang.
Oh, I was wondering what you were drinking.
No, I was drinking a margarita before. It's hot here. It's hard to drink whiskey in hot weather. So usually I actually switch to tequila for the summer.
Interesting. That's a good one.
Hey, I'll take a shot. Hold on. Actually, we don't have no gloves.
Switching to tequila is tough because you have to retrain your body because your stomach goes back to college. You take a shot of tequila and your stomach thinks, oh shit, back everything up, like eject. No?
Let's get this going.
Tequila, we're okay. We're going to have a couple of glasses of tequila and we're not going to boot.
We're not going to.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is.
That's awesome.
Well, Jeff, well, before I wrap this up and everything, what do you feel is the next step for you? Like, what do you have going on for you future-wise?
For me?
Yeah.
So I've been investing heavily in my retirement plan, which is lottery tickets.
There we go.
And at some point, I'm going to win, and then I'm going to disappear.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's a great plan.
So do you mean in paintball?
In paintball, well, with what you're currently doing, like, what are you going to keep doing in the paintball industry? Like, what is to excel from you in the paintball industry?
It's funny. So before this call started, I was here with a buddy of mine, and we were talking about how do you market paintball how do you market paintball to people who don't know that they're looking for paintball, right? If you're looking for paintball in Rhode Island, I'm the only field.
Yep.
But how do you get in front of bachelor parties and bachelorette parties and birthday parties? I think it was Key. But what is Key called now? GI. I think it was GI Sports came out with a video like paintball is a real video game. How do we get that message in front of parents who are sitting right now with kids at home who don't go to school, who spend all day sitting in front of the fucking television playing video games? And the parents know the kids shouldn't be doing it. The parents know the kids need to get outside and do something active. How do we get in front of those parents and tell them, hey, here's an option. Here's an opportunity to go do something. It's nature, you're running, you're getting dirty, you're climbing, well, hopefully not climbing trees, but you're doing things that kids are supposed to do. So I'd like to try to figure out how to do that for my field. As far as the team is concerned, everything's sort of on hold. We're waiting to see whether World Cup happens. If World Cup doesn't happen, then there has to be something. You can't own a race car if there's no races. There's no racetracks.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a D1 team if there's not going to be a D1 tournament in the future.
And who knows if there's going to be an NXL in the future. So.
Right. We don't know right now. So last night I was hanging out with Chris Dahl and Chris McFarlane. at the BKI camp.
There you go.
So Chris Dahl's kid, Colton Dahl, he's like 13. He's a tiny little kid. And Chris McFarland's kid is Chip. They're in the camp, and the three of us hung out and smoked cigars and drank scotch and just chatted. And, it would be neat. It would be fun if somebody could figure out how to fund it, to put together the Team USA, a Team USA team, whether it's under 16, under 19, the women's team, or some combination of, that played an entire NXL season. That would be something that would be fun to be a part of, because those kids are extremely passionate about the game.
Yeah.
They love football. They want to get better. I mean, Chip and Colton flew into Boston this week so they can go to a summer camp.
Wow.
And they spend the entire week with Marcelo and Ryan and Kyle Spica and Slowiak and Austin Beatty. And the interesting story with Austin is a pro on AC Diesel, but last year
He was here at the
Austin sitting in the camp as a camper, not a counselor.
That's
so
awesome.
Nice.
it would be fun. It would be fun if somebody could figure out how do you make this work. That would be something that would be fun to do.
Yeah. I have a question. So I remember a few years back you were doing some coaching seminars, and you're more or less like doing like online schooling on how to like improve your coaching and your managing abilities, which really actually helped me out a lot because you let me do it for free. Are you going to do that again? Will you want to do that again? Because there's a lot of new coaches, a lot of new managers coming into the game, more now than ever.
Anybody who's interested in learning about how to manage a team can contact me. And I'd be happy to talk about it, and I geek out on it, and it's what I enjoy doing. I think there's a lot of clinics out there from coaches like Rusty or Greg Pauly who are infinitely better at coaching than I am. And I think there's a lot of clinics out there right now for players who want to get better. There's actually not a lot out there for people who want to know, what is the block and tackle of managing a team.
Exactly.
Or the downshifts or the hard times.
What's that?
Yeah, or like, the rough ship hard times of like actually running a team. Like everyone thinks it's all like paper sailing and it's super easy.
So one of the things that always gets me is people talk about drama. So anytime that you have three people in a room, there's an energy that those three people create. And we label that energy drama. But if you think about it, in high school, in college, at work, in every social environment you're at, there's stuff going on, and you can label it drama and get all upset, or you can just accept that people aren't robots, people have different thoughts, people have disagreements, and you need to know how to work through that. And if every single time there's an argument, you throw up your hands and you say, I can't deal with drama, well, you're gonna end up living in a dark room in the corner smoking pot all day. Like that's drama is something that happens, and you have to figure out how to go through it.
Yeah, like I've heard before that stress is a good thing. You're supposed to have stress. Stress is what builds up to make sure that you know that you can overcome that kind of scenario or that situation.
Yeah. And the other thing, remember, is stress, anything that happens. When you feel stressed, that's you. That's your reaction to the things that are happening. There's no such thing as good and evil. Something happens, and it's objective. It happens. Two people get into an argument or whatever it is. Whenever you start feeling stressed out, that's you. That's how you're reacting to the world around you. So, put that in perspective. Emotions aren't real. Emotions are your body's reaction to the world around you. There's no objective. There's no, personification of happiness. Happiness is a mindset. Happiness is how you approach the world. Sadness is how you approach the world. Anything that happens, you can look at. Anything that you look at that makes you angry or sad or depressed could just as easily be something that motivates you and pushes you to go forward. It all comes down to the things that are happening around you.
It's very true. It's all about that perspective, right? Because, somebody can be a horrific cat murderer and think they're doing good in the world. So
they're ridding these world of these nasty kids.
Jerry Devereaux down in Florida, right? Like what happened to him is horrific and horrible. That motherfucker's still smiling every time I see him.
Yeah, see? It's one of those things.
Right?
That is crazy, man. Jerry, Jerry, he was in this car wreck, and he had just got onto this Tampa Bay Damage team. They were a rebuilding team, doing really great. And he was playing really well at this time, too. Well, I guess he went to this tire shop beforehand and didn't really do something to his tire correctly. A lug nut or something fell off his car and ended up flipping, and now he's paralyzed.
Damn.
But, dude, this guy is one of the most happiest dudes you'll ever meet. Like, loving, and like still like nothing ever happened. And you know, he's getting more movement in his legs and stuff, so God willing he's able to walk again. But you know, he's one of the most positive energy, no matter, you know, despite what happened to him.
Yeah,
you know. So
that reminds me of Jason Becker, the famous musician who was a guitar player. He got ALS and now he's paralyzed in a chair, but he still doesn't make it seem like he can't do anything. He still writes music at this time. He still does so much. It's just like,
that's amazing.
A lot of us can strive for greatness, or just like you said, it's just a perspective. It's the perspective of what the scenario is.
The Hurricanes used to practice at a field called Del Hobbies in Maryland. And there was a kid who played there. They called him Nubby, which I always thought was a little insensitive. His legs ended at his knees, and he had no arms. Hands that basically came off of his shoulders. And this guy had a gun with a string tied around the trigger, and he would run around playing, holding the gun, and he'd turn his whole body sideways and pull the string and shoot the gun. Like,
that's awesome.
And no matter what hand life dealt him, he was going to do what he wanted to do. Like, that's awesome. I went to a paintball field a few months ago, and I wanted to play, and I showed up and I realized I forgot my shoes, so I didn't play. It's like the wrong shoes, and I didn't play. Nubby had no arms. The dude had no arms.
Wow.
And he was out there playing Hurricanes. Like, you got to admire that. It's if your mindset is woe is me, life sucks, then no matter what happens, life's going to suck and it's going to hurt. And if your mindset is, you know, every challenge is a good challenge, then no matter what happens to you, you're going to be happy.
Great insight. Great insight.
Well, Jeff, that was actually really awesome. I'm super glad that you were able to join us on this podcast. Again, we're just here chilling out, and Dennis was like, "Hey, man, you got to get him on. He's a really great guy. He's really insightful. He's a paintball badass." And I'm just like, "Let's do it, man. Let's get him on." So, Jeff, I want to thank you again for coming on, man.
To be completely fair, Dennis has a much higher opinion of me than probably is warranted.
I'll never have a bad opinion about you, man.
Hey, Jeff, is there anywhere that you want any of my listeners or followers that they can find you, or anything else you want to shout out? Just give them a shout out right now, if anything you want.
Your sponsors and stuff.
So, I mean, rather than give any specific shout out, what I would say is anybody who's a paintball player, support your local stores, support your local fields right now. People are taking a beating because of the COVID thing. You're going to see stores closing. You're going to see fields closing. Without local stores and fields, there is no paintball. With all due respect to A&S, fuck A&S, spend extra dollars, buy a gun at the local brick and mortar, and support local businesses.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, Jeff. That's awesome, man. Thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate you, man. Take it easy, man.
Talk to you later. Dan.
So that was Mr. Jeff Stein on the MuseMe TV. Thank you for letting us do that, man. I have a few other people that would want to come on and chat with us, and just to get you more paintball knowledge, dude. Because
that's actually pretty crazy too. Like, so NPBL is the National Paintball League.
No, so NPPL is National Professional Paintball League.
Okay.
And that was the league back in like the early 2000s and stuff like that I actually grew up playing in.
Okay.
And so NPPL actually ended up subsiding, and NXL and PSP kind of took over for a number of years, while like there are a bunch of like other NPPL rebirths, but nothing really big.
Okay.
And then NXL came around and just took over the entire national tournament scene. So it's weird. And what NXL does, and what we were talking about, is, you know, it's, you got to earn your way into the pro division. But he's right. There's no real need for 20 teams. In fact, a couple of years ago, when they first started, it was only 16 teams, and then they went to 18 teams, and then they went to 20 teams. You know what I mean? And so it's all a money thing for these guys, you know, and it's sad because you like the normal guys like me and you, we would have to go and pay like $2,800 to go and compete, which is like what the hell, you know? That's just the entry fee. That's not even counting the 40, 50 cases you're gonna have to shoot if you make it through the finals
with everybody there and stuff.
And then your hotel and then your flight.
Yeah, like you guys said, like you might win $10,000, but that's pretty much going right back into the whole thing.
And that's the pro. If you're in the divisional league, you're only at most you'll probably. I think the semi-pro guys win about $5,000, and then everybody else you might win what the entry fee was. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's like that's an insult, man. It's a huge insult to injury. It's like what am I doing at that point? You know. So what you are doing is you're just going to go have fun because even if you do win, you're losing unless you're at the D1 level or the semi-pro level is what they call it now, and you have something to win, which is your pro spot. You know,
there's something to work towards, right?
Exactly.
But then that sucks too because again, most of your revenue and stuff that you guys are getting just comes from sponsorship deals.
Yep.
And that's not even that much of a sponsorship deal because it's just like, hey, you guys send me this free equipment. You guys have already equipment, so it just ends up selling it, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you get a lot of your benefits and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there are teams out there that, you know, they'll get stuff that won't even expect anything in return. You know what I mean? Here's a legit sponsorship. Here's this gear. You know what I mean?
Just use it.
And then exactly. And then there's players out there who work out certain deals with gun sponsorships, and they get like 5 guns or 6 guns or 7 guns a year that they get to sell. Well, that's like $8,000 in profit right there. You know what I mean? Like, if not more. So, all in all, like, if you want to look like paintball is a lot of fun, right? But there needs to be a change at the national level to where it, you know what I mean? It's competitive like StarCraft. You know what I mean? Like, you go and you play a StarCraft tournament, you're going to win what? How much do you think those people are going to win at the tournament that's going on right now?
Yeah, like I said, this
couple million.
This GSL is going to be like maybe a good 100,000 something.
Oh well, that's 100,000. You know what I mean? That's still 100,000 more than what we're
and it's still a lot. I mean, you could think about it. I mean, it's the build up to, and it's. I mean, I don't want to put the similarities, but there are. You have to get the sponsorship deals. You have to play the games, and then you do so well with the equipment that you have. Then it's like, okay, well, let's send you more of the equipment, or let's give you more of a promotional deal as long as you're wearing our shirts, our guns, whatever the case may be.
And that's how. And a lot of people, and he's right. A lot of people don't understand that. You know, they expect, oh, sponsor me, give me. You know what I mean? Like, what can you give me? I'm blah blah blah. I got all these followers on Instagram. Well, okay, well, sweet. Are all 5,000 followers on Instagram going to buy a $75 jersey? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if they're not, then fuck off. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not going to design. Well, me as a designer, like, I'm not going to design you something for free just because you have so many followers that are going to look at it. Like, them looking at it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The ratio has to be way bigger for something like that. Like you have to be in like the hundreds of thousands of followers to be even interested in like, oh, well, even if the percentage is small, I'm still going to get at least 1,000 sold.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. You remember how I told you the margin of 10%? Like, if you're lucky, and this is like if it's a great product and if you're lucky and it's amazing, you'll sell to 10% of your followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have 10,000 people, that means maybe 1,000 people, but like that's an optimistic as hell number is 10%. You know what I mean? That's if you're really good at what you do. That's 10%. You know what I mean? Like, let's put LeBron James. You know what I mean? 10% of all LeBron James fans are going to buy his jersey.
Something from him.
Exactly.
The sweatband, the shoes, whatever, something.
But he has 100 million fans.
And not only that, it's even like the multiple teams that he's played on now.
Yeah.
Now he has fan favorites for the specific team. Like, say if you're a paintballer and you went from this team to another semi-pro team, now you have 2 followings where it's like, I actually liked Dennis way more when he played with this team, so I'd rather get this jersey than get the new one. So that takes into account too. That's always blown me away so many times. Just like, yeah, that's so crazy.
That dude's #1 jersey seller, I think, of all time.
Besides Jordan.
Besides Michael Jordan. And then you got like Tim Tebow. But still, like, that's a rare thing, Tim Tebow. But like, let's think about all the Michael Jordan. Like, let's put the number at 1 billion fucking fans between the two of those, between LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and let's even throw Kobe in. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're gonna have 100 million, 200 million sales with all those guys. You know what I mean? Like, of course you are, because that's the margin of numbers at 10%. You know what I mean? Like, but with those guys, that's more like you know. But so I would have to say, like, when my company does something and I post something up, I get about 5% to 10%. You know what I mean? Of like people who hit me up and are actually interested in buying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my Blood Monkey jersey, I had so many people interested in that. Well, I ended up selling like close to over, I would have to say, 105 jerseys of that one specific design to people all over the world.
Yeah, they wanted it.
You know what I mean? And there is well over 1,000 people who liked it, 10,000 people who know about it. You know what I mean? So I could even be at 1%. You know what I mean? So it's like, who knows, really? But it's a hard business, man. And paintball is very hard to make a profit, like both as a company and as a team. Like, yeah. Because you have these companies, you
kind of merge them, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of ends up being one thing. Like, yeah. I'm a pro team, but I still have my own merch that I make and sell.
And that's only one team that does that. You know what I mean? That's what I've been trying to, like, for my personal teams that I've, like, with MK Ultra, I've been trying to get them going, like, dude, build your brand. You know what I mean? Like, sell to people around you, or people are, like, just make something that looks cool so somebody wants to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to even have necessarily like paintball related logos on it, or even a paintball, like, you know, like, right, people like don't said, know.
Why aren't they making lighters? Why aren't they making mugs? You know, it should be a wide array of things that just have it, so that they're like, oh, it's not only a paintball company, it's a company.
Exactly.
It's an actual company.
That, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what situation and where you're at, you're going to wear it or have it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make cutting boards now, dude.
Yeah, I saw the post. I was like, God damn it.
I want to make cutting boards.
Here we go, dude. And that's kind of my plan, or my idea, that I would love to do with MuseMe. Because, again, MuseMe is the brand, and then there's the offset of it, MuseMe TV, MuseMe chairs, MuseMe lighter, anything. It all plays off of that. And I get what you're saying. When you can start labeling it on different stuff, too. It's like, I kind of want to get a fucking cool little insignia so I could just put it on the guitar, so people see it. They're just like, oh shit, it doesn't say anything too vulgar, nothing weird, but I now have to look at this up because he's a good guitarist, and it says MuseMe on it. So I get what you're saying, the way people have to market for those teams and stuff like that to get their product out there and get more famous with the product.
And like, just posting it, dude, that's not even part of the actual battle, dude. Like, going out there and talking to people and who you know are interested and making those weird cold calls. You know what I mean? When I first started doing an MK Ultra thing, I would go and just message random people. I would go and I would look up tournaments, write down all the team names of that tournament, and then like hit up everybody in that. You know what I mean? Yeah. On the team, like, yo, you know, who's your coach? Who's your coach? Who's your coach? You know what I mean? And like, of those 50, 20 teams that I would hit up, you know what I mean? I would always get like 1 or 2, 3 teams that would come back. You know what I mean? Or like want to order for me, or even want my designs or whatever. You know what I mean? Which is a win.
Yeah.
But like, me just posting up my catalog, or me just posting up a design, that's not going to get me selling that design. Like, I have to actively go out there and like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you want this jersey? Who else do you think might want this jersey? You know what I mean? You like this shirt? Well, share it amongst your friends. And if you can get me 20 shirts that are sold, I'll give you 3 shirts of different designs that you want. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, just to cover the margin.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, if you help, and that's how I am too as a person. Like, you know, if you help me, I'm gonna hook you up. You know what I mean? On anything. Like, I don't try to make the most money off of people. Like, and that's the other thing too with my jerseys is like, even with my extra kit designs, where I'll see other people, they'll post up like a half-ass kind of design for $120. I'll do it for like $75. Most of the time when I first started out, it was $65. But the only reason why it's $75 now is because the jerseys cost me more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the quality and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, the quality's better. So I'm going to, you know, I've been sticking with the same company. I'm going to stay with the same company until, you know what I mean, like, they go under or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even see them going under, but, you know, like, I would like to come to the point where I'm designing my own jersey for them and having my own jersey made. You know what I mean? To the full extent that I design that jersey to the thread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's something I want to do. And it's something I've been passionate about doing for a really long time now. But that's getting a little off subject. The thing is, like, you got to, like, be able to, like, give back. You know what I mean? If you want somebody to give you money, you got to have confidence in yourself and confidence that, you know what I mean? Like, we have these headphones on, right? Well, Skull Candy or whoever might hit us up, like, you know, like, if you can sell us 20 pairs of these Skull Candies, we'll you know what I mean? You'll only, like, you can keep this much of the profit, and then you can keep, and we'll send you 2 of our badass pairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of like so on my Twitch channel, I'm actually have like this weird affiliation with Amazon. So I have a list of all the equipment that I use, like my PlayStation, my guitar, my amp,
That's cool.
on an Amazon list, so that when you click on it, it'll send you a link to Amazon. And if you buy it with that link, I get a percentage off of that.
That's pretty cool, actually.
But yeah, see, so you have this list of like the stuff that you use or the stuff that you want to get used, and then you show how well it is or whatever the product is in that instance, and then it sells itself. It kind of just, you get a profit off of it. Like you said, I'm probably not going to make so much because the dude that made that amp, the dude that actually put in the time of that, gets most of the profit.
Yeah.
But I introduced it to the population. I introduced it to people, and it's like, hey, man, like, I sold this for you, kind of like your instance too, where it's just like, I can sell this for you, instead of like, well, in your instance too, you want to make it so you don't have to just be the person that sells it for somebody. You want to have, and maybe you just want somebody to sell it for you or something.
Yeah, well, that's the goal, right? Having people kind of work for you in a way, but you know what I mean? Like, I like that. You know what I mean? It's like, if you let's like I keep telling you, like as a guitarist, if you make these videos and you promote yourself, like you can get these sponsors. You know what I mean? Especially if you promote it in a way that people are buying it. You know what I mean? It's gonna be more easy for somebody who's at Guitar Center, let's say, like, yeah, dude, this guy, he's moving 10 guitars a month for us. You know what I mean? Like, let's give him some money. You know what I mean? Like, but like, presents it with, you need that opportunity in the sense. You know what I mean? Like, but like that's a far-fetched thing. You know what I mean? Like, well, not far-fetched. That's like a big thing though. Like, guitars are hard to sell, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like strings, or you know what I mean? Like
even picks or something like that.
Picks,
something
exactly.
At the end,
like,
yeah. Chords.
you know, I wouldn't be able to make this kind of solo without this kind of strings and chords. You know what I mean? Like,
so a thing that really is still kind of like amateurish, or a lot of people still do under, like, you know, there's independent companies and stuff, is guitar pedals.
Oh, nice.
So there's a bunch of people that are just like, you know, trying to get off the ground making guitar pedals, and that's one of those instances where like, hey, I have this many, like, but it's a different aspect for paintball, I know, but like, I have this many followers on my Instagram, and over this many are listening to a video that I played with guitar. Like, let me use your distortion pedal, and I'll even make a little thing about it where you can buy it and stuff, and let's see what happens.
A whole review, like, video and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, and I wonder if it works like that, where you have to kind of, you have the following, you try it. If it works, then they keep doing it. Or if it doesn't, then they just like, oh, well, we lost on that one.
In a way, yeah. I mean, like, but see, that's the thing, is you got to be able to, like, present yourself to where that company wants to take that risk. Yeah. Even though, like, and like, that's where you start small though. Like, how much is a guitar pedal? Like $100, $200?
Yeah.
How much is a guitar pedal to make? $20, $40, you know what I mean? $50 maybe.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's not, I'm not, oh man, I lost $200. Well, in a way you lost $200, but in a sense you really only lost $50 trying to get your product out there. Yeah. I would gamble $50 to make, let's say you sell 10, you know what I mean? 10 pedals at $200. I'd make $1,500 on a gamble of you for $50. Like, yeah, dude, I'll take that gamble every day of the week, dude. I don't care. Yeah. Well, I do. I mean, if you present yourself the right way,
yeah, I get
you know what I mean.
Saying,
like,
yeah.
I'm going to take that gamble. You know what I mean? Like,
so I get what you're saying. It's kind of like these companies see where the potential is. They're not just trying to like, hey, let's just throw it pedals at people because they have a certain amount of followers.
Exactly.
And stuff.
Like, is that musician going to do the legwork to like, here's the review video. It's a great video. If you got any questions, comment, and I'll talk to you about it. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, and then you see people who are viewing and you listen down, and then you even like, you see somebody who's like watching you for longer than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, hit them up. Like, are you interested in this pedal? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of legwork that goes into getting people to actually buy a product. But if you do that legwork, like in a way, like, and it pays off. You know what I mean? I have people who hit me up now. I don't have to go out and make those cold calls. I have people cold calling me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, which is amazing feeling, but I still go out and I do my legwork. You know what I mean? Like, if I have a month where I'm like, damn, I'm a little short on, you know, funds, or you know what I mean? I'll just like, I just feel like I need to sell more. I'll go out and it's a lot of fun for me personally to go out. It's like a little chase thing. You know what I mean? I get told no a lot, but I get told yes even more. You know what I mean? So that's it, in my head. That's how I feel. Like, Of course, I get told even more than yes, but I remember the yeses more than I remember the nos.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true. That makes sense of like any scenario. Like, even if you like have a constant like backlash with somebody, you kind of like always bring up the bad. You're just like, oh man, it's not as useful and not as working, blah blah blah. But if you can find the good or the little underlying stuff, that's what makes you want to do it more.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Totally get that. Look, Joseph Cruz, what's up? He's just been chilling, talking a bunch.
That's cool, man. What's he got to say? Anything
Dennis
cool?
is a Fed. MK Ultra Bro, not even trying to hide it. What kind of water you drinking? And fuck it, Will Antiques. That's as far as I got. Sell antiques.
Sell antiques.
Yep. Well, I mean, I've always been
thrift store.
Yeah, like a collector of stuff. So
you do have a lot of stuff.
So after a few times, I'm pretty sure I'd just be like, "Hey, I got this Lego set in like 2010. Pretty sure it's worth something. Worth something a little more now."
I wonder, man, what kind of stuff you have that is worth a little bit of money now. You have a shitload of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I know. I don't. To be honest, I don't know. I know I have a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are in like the $30-$40 range.
Oh, big baller over here, dude.
Yeah, so it's like paper money, right?
How long do you haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh, you know? So how long do you intend on keeping those cards?
Probably for a while. I still collect them. Like, I like the way they look. Some of them have really good cards. It's just like even finding old ones too. Like, if you could find an old card that's actually really rare. They have a thing known as reprints. So they reprint cards, but if you could find original prints, those are really rare. Like, there's a Blue Eyes out of a pack called the LOB, the Legend of Blue Eyes. That's literally worth like $160, $200.
So how come they're not as expensive as Pokemon? Because they're still in use today, or what?
No, they're just as expensive. Pokemon has its same value at around the same thing too.
I've heard like $3,000, $4,000 like Pokemon cards or whatever.
Yeah, the same, like a Charizard card. I'm pretty sure like a first edition Exodia set with the LOB logo with the out of that pack is good. $5,000-$6,000. It has to be.
Jeez.
I mean,
dude, I remember all these kids in New Jersey used to have that too. Yeah. I hope they kept on to it.
Rarest Yu-Gi-Oh card is probably something stupid, but
these kids paid like hundreds of dollars at that time for them to have that set too. It was fucking retarded.
Yeah, these are just some examples, but yeah. See that Blue Eyes, where it comes out of and stuff is super rare. $400 on the secondhand market. This is $800.
I remember that one right here.
This is
$1,400.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
2000.
I don't even know what that one is. I've never seen that. I know what that one is. I've seen her before.
23.
I've seen that guy before too. 3, I used to have that card.
3,000. The thing that makes the most out of this card is what pack it came out of.
Oh.
So there's so many copies, but if it has that number insignia, then you know it's a rare one. 6,000, as high as 6,000 for this fucker.
Jesus. I remember that card too. That was really cool.
It's only getting higher, around 9,000 US for this fucker. Dark Magician Girl out of the original LOB packs. 50,000 hanging around. If you have a spare 50,000, you can proud owner of this ultra rare.
Jeez, man.
And then the tournament. So even after Yu-Gi-Oh got so big, they would release like tournament cards and stuff. Approximately 9 million.
What? $9 million for that?
It was awarded to the first place winner. The prize was the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh tournament back in 1999. The card appeared on the Japanese trading card auction site in 2013. The seller was asking 9,908 million yen, approximately 9 million US. While the card cannot be used in play, we think that the Valiant Knight would be the crowning glory of your Yu-Gi-Oh! National collection. Yeah, so
that's insane.
There's a bunch of it's the same thing with Pokemon. There's a demand for it.
Oh wow, dude, $9,000. That's way more than I ever thought. Are baseball cards still like worth?
Yeah, baseball cards still have some good value to them and stuff too. I think any real franchise cards, like even basketball cards, if you have the rookie of like Michael Jordan's rookie card when he first came out, if you have that,
really,
that's probably worth a lot of money.
Imagine if you had it signed.
Yeah, that's even more.
I wouldn't think like basketball had that. Well, I bet you it was like not in the tens of thousands like some baseball cards are, right? Like,
oh, dude,
or millions. Baseball cards are in the millions, right?
Here we go, man. Stephen Curry's rookie card.
Lord,
that's
oh my
just his
God,
rookie card, dude.
And that's a 2009 Upper Deck exclusive. Wow.
Yeah. See, so LeBron James's rookie card, 12,000. 13,000, 14 for Michael Jordan's. See, look, there's even two different Stephen Currys at price value differences.
Wow, man.
So yeah, dude, there's a market for everything.
Jesus, that's
Jackson.
And it just goes on more.
Jackson Whitteman, are you still here? If you are, thank you for joining. He asked, "What is your favorite movie?"
That's a quick question, man.
Joseph Cruz said Clockwork Orange. He's in the comments. Anybody else in the comment section, go ahead and put your favorite movie in. To be honest, probably one of my favorite movies is called Maximum Overdrive. And it's like a Stephen King movie about semis that get like taken over by aliens.
What?
Yeah, it's an old school movie. It probably came out in like early 90s, late 80s. But that's one of my favorite movies because all the music in that movie is actually written by AC/DC. And they didn't like use their music. They weren't like, hey, let's throw Thunderstruck in there. Hey, let's.
Oh, they wrote
their music there. So like if it was a love scene that came up, amazing guitar riff, the drums, bass, just for that scene, they wrote that shit. So
that's fucking. So the whole movie, they were just playing music in the background.
There's even like these stupid chase scenes where it's just da na 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 da na na. They did some cool riffs to it. They weren't trying to get their old stuff like, oh, let's play. Like you see that all the time in movies and stuff like that, where they're just like, oh, this is a great montage moment for, Wind Beneath My Sails, and they play that song and then they have a montage thing. Everything was done by AC/DC music wise.
That sounds actually pretty cool.
So that's one of my favorite.
That's an interesting reason why to like a movie too.
Yeah, I remember, and it's actually old school. Emilio Estevez, that guy.
Oh my God, I was like, Emilio.
Yeah, that guy's in that movie. I forgot who else was in that movie.
Funny that you made me say that because. Like that's one of my favorite movies is Night at the Roxbury. But
Night at the Roxbury. What's another one? One of your favorite movies?
My all time is The Mask.
Oh really? That's cool.
I just like the whole story around it. You know what I mean? Like even though like you watch it, it's kind of cheesy now, but like I just like it, man. Like this loser banker puts on the mask and he's just like some. I don't even know how to explain. He's just a badass, but like unexplainable because he's not out of this world. And then like when you like I don't know, I kind of like watched it on a different perspective, I guess you could say, the other day.
Oh, just the other day?
Yeah, and like shit. I was like, wow, man. So like they talk about this like old African god, and like back in the day, like they would wear these masks and everything like that, and that's why you see these big masks, and like that's where they put their power, they feel, and that's where their soul kind of went into, because that's who they were. You know what I mean? It was that mask.
I get you.
And so it's interesting because like a lot of the times when I did like DMT or something, I always saw the same thing with like this like African mask on. You know what I mean? And I don't even know really how to explain it, but like when they were explaining that like part, like I was thinking to myself, like maybe that's my mask. You know what I mean? Like, or my inner like thing that if I were to put on a mask, that's who I would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of interesting. Like, and then just like what he went through and like all the cool, like the funny shit that he was doing. It's just like, it's just hilarious. You know what I mean? Like you won't be able to see a movie like that made today.
Yeah. I was actually freaking out too because as you saw, I was kind of rewatching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Dude. How, okay, like there's so many other people that have gotten flack for it, but like, where's like, dude, they did legit blackface.
They did legit, and they were talking about quarantining, and like they made some like Asian jokes during the quarantining thing. It was fucking wild, man.
So
like,
it's kind of crazy to think about where that's going to lead to, the cancel culture of that, if it does end up somewhere.
I don't, but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those shows. I think it's like South Park. You know what I mean? They make Comedy Central so much money that Comedy Central is going to let them do and write and put out whatever South Park wants, because South Park basically owns Comedy Central. Because without South Park, there wouldn't be a Comedy Central. Let's just be straight up about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so same thing with Always Sunny in Philadelphia, dude. Like without
FX, yeah.
So Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who's going to tune into FX? Like, you know, they took off live PD. Well, half of their viewers for A&E stopped turning into A&E because what the hell is there to watch on A&E besides cop shows? You know what I mean? Like
true traumas and shit like that.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that over and over and over again and the same stuff because you don't have any other material.
It's hilarious.
So I think like Always Sunny is always going to be at that spot. Well, you know, FX may not air it or whatever, but like they're not going to get to the point where it's like, oh no, blah blah blah. But like the whole cancel culture thing needs to stop already, man. Like it's ridiculous.
Fuck. So you know it's crazy too. Is like we have to go watch. Oh yeah, now he adds me. Oh look, Jeff Stein added me as a friend. Great. Anyways, so we have to go watch the UFC and shit because there's some crazy shit that's been going on. It's actually trending right now on. It's trending on Twitter. Let's just see a little bit of what's going on. I guess this girl right here, she heard the clap. You know how the 10-second clap before the buzzer? She heard it and thought the match was over.
Every single day. Yes.
Oh!
She thought the match was over after that clap.
Damn!
I'm trying not to play it so I don't get copyrighted. But yeah, see that. And then there was something that happened where Herb Dean didn't get he thought it went on too long.
Oh.
He didn't stop it. He should have stopped it. Nope. Everyone's pissed because Herb Dean didn't stop it. After that first initial, like that looked like a knockout with that first hit. Right there. That's it. That's all it should have. That's it.
Weird. Yeah.
But he did.
It should have been it. But he was kind of, that was weird.
So that
I don't know why he didn't.
Let them die.
Let them die. Herb, let them die, Dean. He's actually really good, man. One mistake. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You let him have it.
He's a good guy. I actually met him one time at a Comic-Con. He wasn't even part of the Comic-Con, but he was at the hotel at the Buffalo Thunder Resort. He knew the Comic-Con was going on, so it's like, fuck it, I'm going to walk around. And maybe a few people knew who he was, but I was totally like, it's Herb Dean. Dude, can I get a picture? Hell yeah. So I got this picture on my Facebook of me with Herb Dean and shit. And I'm just like, you guys are here to see Superman, and you guys are here to see, it's Herb Dean. It's Herb Dean. He's a celebrity. Like, nobody got that. I was so crazy. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, shit. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Make sure to tune in all social media sites, MuseMe TV. Do you want them to find you anywhere, Dennis?
Well, no. I mean, if you're new to this webcast and it's your first time watching it because of Jeff Stein, please follow this webcast because it's awesome. He has great guests, does great interviews, and he's a lot of fun to watch. So tune in next time, folks. Thank you.
We're trying to get shit going, guys. Peace out. We'll be back later. Peace.